One thing you said on the Yadman podcast, which by the way, I'm piggybacking off of something you just said. And I quote, these days people are not making revolutionary music anymore. Why?
Because there's no incentive. You know, nobody as a young man wants to live a midlife. Everybody's trying to aim for the top. Everybody wants to be the best, and it stifles true expression when you compete in the arts, when you compete in life in general. The only place where competition is healthy is in sports.
Mm.
But we live in a world where they've fine-tuned our consciousness from cooperation to competition. And we are told that without competing with each other, we cannot find our best self. I refuse to believe that, but a lot of young people do. I did for a long time, so I can't blame them. This is something I had to discover through years of self-education, you know. So everybody wants to be number one, So there's no room for, you're not aiming for that number one spot if you are doing revolutionary music. Nah, nah. So young people are not incentivized, you know, to, but on their own now, I have to say, a lot of artists are beginning to understand that they need to inspire a different world. You know, they need to inspire a different world, and that's a good thing, also. You know.
Mm-hmm. I understand your point about people just wanting success and wanting to be very famous, win awards, get the red carpet treatment, etc. I have also been very inspired by a lot of MCs that came through in the 90s, early thousands, who spoke about class consciousness, who spoke about capitalistic systems. But then there are people like Jay-Z who will say, if you use capitalist, that's a slur. That word is a slur now. So I understand this imbalance because personally, I'm not seeing it necessarily at this current point in time. There are some who will point out, let's say, police brutality, which is of course terrible, and that should have a light shined on it, especially what's going on now. But I guess my follow up is this: wouldn't it be hit making if they spoke to the current moment now in the United States? Wouldn't that only help them long term?
Well, it's the same reason we can mobilize the whole of LA against Drake, but not against the police, you know?
Wow.
Oops, oops, shit. I don't,
Holy
I've done it.
shit.
I've done it now. I've done it now.
Oh, 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 I knew there would be bars in this session.
I've done it now,
Yes,
I've
yes,
done
you
it
have.
now. Yeah, I think that answers that question.
Yes, I think it did. I think it
Yeah.
did. Okay. Follow up to that. Kendrick had the Super Bowl performance. I know we're getting away from revolutionary talk, but as a musician, as a music consumer, what did you make of the Super Bowl performance that he had and the one line that everybody and their mothers know in Not Like Us?
What line is this? A
Stop it.
minor.
Stop it.
No, no, I love the performance, Listen, I love the performance. And I think, it was as revolutionary as the performance at the Super Bowl could be in
That's a good
2024.
point.
I don't think that it's better than what Beyonce did with it, you know. So yeah, I mean, we find ourselves as artists in a crossroads. I'm telling you, I know a lot of artists, and I think we, you know, very soon. I mean, how many cars can you buy, and how many chains can you own, and how many houses can you live in? And at something's got to give at some point, and people are just gonna start speaking what's really in their heart. You know, I feel like we are really talented people as Africans. And the system has lied to us that our talent is for us, personal use. I say it to my countrymen all the time when I'm working in the movement of the people in our political party, you know, to understand that that's one of the biggest errors of our educational system. In this capitalist educational system, you are not made to realize that your talent is tied directly to your nation's development. You know, that as you acquire your talent, as you own your talent, as you become better and better, as you are growing into an adult, you must begin to conceptualize how that talent is benefiting not just you, but your community and then your nation in whole. I think we as African people are the ones most lacking in this consciousness, just because we are under uh, colonial education globally, and we are under the education of our conquerors who educate us to stay subservient. You understand? Yeah. So, but where I frown is that even with this amount of opposition to our existence as Africans, we have been able to accumulate and free ourselves and make some gains that I believe that this generation of African leaders, both business and political, are too selfish, to understand that they were the ones that the Nkrumahs and the Lumumbas and the Shokotures and the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings all died for, to create that opportunity. Today they all walk around and talk about how they are self-made. Like, how can you be a black man and go around and say you are self-made? When for every little step, we are the only group not invited to the table for anything. For everything we've gotten in this system, somebody had to pay the blood price. To go to school, to vote, to enter the bus, to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, to do anything we are in this system, somebody died. Somebody that didn't even know who the fuck you are to make that possible for you. And it was believed that these opportunities were going to go towards our larger liberation, the complete and total restoration of that which was taken. But these people connived, through the African military, Black excellence movement that Nixon and Reagan launched in America, tokenism, to confuse, our position, in relation to the system. So we have a lot of people that have the means to begin to educate our people in the true liberation education that we need to form viable communities all over the world where we can begin to strive and not just survive. But they choose to instead lord it over us and tell us how, we should bow down to them because they have all these things that they've accumulated that we don't have. And we should, what the one I hate most are, musicians that, start loading their YouTube numbers over other musicians. I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. I know dogs on YouTube with more views than you. So what should we do? Go and worship that dog too? Niggas, take a few seats, man. I don't care. All these views, I'm like, there are dogs, cats on YouTube with 500 million views. What am I supposed to do? Roll over and worship the Lord, cats? Bless me with some views, cats? I don't know. So I think
I have a question about that. Are they buying views?
I don't even care. What I know is that we as African people need to stop lording success over each other and instead use our successes to build bridges to our people. That's what it's for. Any other thing is a waste of time, it's a fallacy, and it's small. Any other thing is small. It's just small. You can be lying to yourself that you're doing it big, but that shit is small.